So hi, welcome back to another video. Today we are getting real. We are getting into the thick of it, and we are addressing a problem that has been mine for way too long. And we are talking about how to get out of a rut. This video is all about getting out of this vicious cycle and getting productive again when you're just feeling so overwhelmed and you're procrastinating and you're not wanting to do anything. And believe me, been there, done that. I have had several ruts in the past. And actually, if I'm being frank with you, for the early part of January, I haven't been as productive as I would have wanted to. I imagine myself starting off this year with I actually had the best intentions, but everything was just easier said than done, and I have been procrastinating a lot. And so for the past 2 weeks, I have been forcing myself to get out of that rut and just change my mindset and just become a little more productive. And I just want to say before actually getting into today's video that it's okay sometimes to have downtimes. It's normal to not be on the top of your game every single time and to not be super productive every single day. But for me, that has often been an excuse not to get things done, because I would just tell myself, oh, I feel tired today. But feeling tired is not always an excuse to not do things and to just procrastinate and lay in your bed all day scrolling through TikTok endlessly, watching series. Sometimes it feels good to do that, but for me, it just making it a habit is not a good thing. This cannot be a habit of mine. And so this is how I actually break out of this cycle and how I get productive. And as my mother has told me many times in the past, the less things you do, the less things you want to do. And it's actually true. And when you're being lazy, that's probably not the thing you want to hear. But I have to give this to her. It is true. And we're going to break it down today together. So without further ado, those are the habits and hacks to finally break out of a rut and be productive again. Number one is actually related to what I've just said, and it's all about getting started. It doesn't have to be big, but it's just baby steps. Getting started and doing just one little task is gonna get you going, because the more things you do, the more things you want to do. Maybe it's not the case for you, but it is the case for me. And whenever I feel lazy and I don't feel like doing much, I end up not doing anything, and then I don't want to do anything more. And when I do actually get started, it's okay, I got this one thing out of the way, might as well carry on and do something else. So this first hack is all about the little baby steps. Again, as I said, it doesn't have to be super big, and it doesn't have to be deep cleaning your whole apartment, but it can be something as simple as making your bed, for example, or just getting out of bed, getting dressed. It doesn't have to be big. That little first thing you do is all about changing your intentions and getting started. Whenever I feel lazy, a lot of it has to do with my environment. It's because I have all these things that I know I have to do, like folding laundry or cleaning my bedroom or cleaning around, doing the dishes. And that's actually number 2 on the list. Cleaning around just helps me to get things going, because having a clean environment for me personally just helps me to be more productive, and it actually helps me with creativity, because my brain is not clogged with all these things that I have to do, and the space that surrounds me brings me at peace almost, if that makes sense. And it also kind of goes hand in hand with number 1, because getting started can be cleaning around, and cleaning around just leads me to a better place mentally, and so I can get more things done without feeling overwhelmed by my environment. And starting with cleaning around just makes me feel like I'm getting it out of the way, and therefore I don't have to think about it anymore, and I have more brain space to think about something else, to think about a project I want to work on, or to get creative, write some things down. Because whenever I don't do these tasks, I always have them in the back of my head, and I'm always thinking okay, I need to plan some time to do this and this and that. But once I get it done, it's done. And speaking of getting things done, at number 3, we have making yourself a realistic to-do list, an emphasis on the realistic. I am personally really good at filling my to-do list with a bunch of things that I want to get done. And often what happens is I feel like almost overwhelmed because I see the list and it's full of tasks and I'm not being super realistic and I don't get everything done. And that way I feel disappointed. So making yourself a realistic to-do list within the time frame that you have and within also the energy that you have is just going to help you go. And if in the process you see that you're actually able to get a lot more things done than you thought, you can always add tasks. And one thing I like to do when it comes to creating a to-do list is I like to categorize the tasks that I need to get done in priority. So I would have like priority number 1, 2, and 3, and I would try and get as many things done in the first category because it would be priority number 1 and then priority number 2 and then priority number 3 and so on and so forth. So that way I know that the first things I'm getting done is actually what needs to be done urgently. And then priority number 2 is like, it's going to be fun if I do it. If I don't do it, that's not a big problem. And then number 3, like, if I could do it, cool. If I don't do it, whatever. And that way I don't feel as bad if I don't get everything done on the list because I know that I got the priority number 1 cleared up. I've briefly mentioned it, but to be able to get everything done, you need some sort of energy. So hack number 4 is to give yourself that little energy boost that you need. Whether that's tea, coffee, or matcha, treat yourself to your preferred source of energy. Personally, I've really been enjoying Magic Mind because unlike coffee, it releases caffeine at a slower pace, which prevents the neuroreceptors in your brain to get fully blocked, and that way you don't get the crash. So it gives you energy in a more sustainable way. This little bottle here contains nootropics such as lion's mane and cordyceps mushroom that boost clarity and focus, which allows you to be more productive. A special thank you to Magic Mind for partnering with me once again for this week's video and for helping me to just get more productive. I've actually had this for a couple of weeks now every single morning, and I've noticed a difference in my energy levels and in just my overall productivity. If you too would like to try Magic Mind, you can use the link in the description and use my code for a special discount. Cheers to being productive. Once you feel energized and ready to go, this is when you set the mood. That's right. Nothing gets me going more than a good playlist. Like having the proper music to get things done makes such a difference for me, and it might sound stupid, but it really does. Sometimes I'll put on a playlist to hype myself and get in the groove and in the moves, and I just feel like more energized and more productive and overall like more hyped up and ready to accomplish everything and anything. It's all about like the energy that you set for yourself, pun intended. But if that's not your thing, you could set the mood with like candles, oil diffusers, incense, humidifiers. Just set the mood for what you're feeling. If you're feeling a little more cozy, then go that way. But if you're feeling like hyped up and you want to feel like a badass bitch, then do that. Find what's right for you, set the mood, and get things done. And similarly to having a clean environment, setting the mood not only puts you in the right physical place, but it also puts you in the right mental space. And that way you're really in tune with your environment, with the mood, and with the energy that you're taking to go into this and to get things done. That was a lot of words, but essentially just set the mood for you and for what feels right, whatever that mood is. Okay, when it comes to actually getting things done, because I feel like now I've just been talking about like how to prepare yourself to be more productive, but now that we're getting into the thick of it, into like getting the actual things done, my advice to you is to set timers. I've talked about this in a productivity vlog, but what I like to do when starting a new task is actually setting myself 15-minute timers. So every 15 minutes, I have an alarm go off, and every 15 minutes, I have the opportunity to either take a break and recollect and reevaluate or carry on. And usually after 15 minutes, it's pretty rare that I'm going to stop because I'm like in the momentum and I just want to get things done. But after like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, I usually take a small break. It's never a big break. It's usually just like 5 minutes making myself some tea or just doing something else, getting my mind off of what I'm doing and just like recollect myself. But taking small breaks like that allows you to not feel overwhelmed and get fed up with what you're doing and just change your mind off things. And it has been very beneficial for me because it's either I'm so into it that I'm really getting the thing done, or if I get bored of what I'm doing, at least I've done 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour of that task, and then I can move on to a next one or take a break if needed and come back to it. And that way it also allows me to manage my time a little bit better. So when I have to do that task again later in life, I know approximately how much time it's going to take, and I can plan my to-do list accordingly. Speaking of taking breaks, hack number 7 is going outside. Getting that breath of fresh air, going outside and breathing in and out, I just feel like it honestly just resets my brain. Sometimes I'll go on a walk, sometimes I'll just literally go outside and breathe. But that does something to my brain. It like tickles it. Almost. And if you do decide to go on a walk, for example, activating your body also activates your brain in a way. And that way you get more productive once you get back to your task. And I don't have the science to back me up here, but I know that going outside and get your body moving releases some sort of hormones that after help you to be more focused somehow. Maybe this is nonsense, but if my memory is correct, I've read that or I've heard that somewhere before, and it makes a lot of sense because whenever I do get a workout done or I go on a walk or I go outside and I just like activate my body, after that I feel more grounded and less distracted, and that way I feel more productive. So do with that information what you will, but it works for me, so it might work for you as well. Speaking of the body, number 8 is all about fueling your body. Nourish it. Have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner. Fuel your body and your mind. You need energy to be focused and to get going and to get things done. You can't just rely on caffeine, sadly. I've done that too many times, but it works for a brief moment. So take the time to cook yourself a good meal, to snack, to drink water. Stay hydrated. That's also very important. But just fuel your mind and body. Sometimes being productive is all about like time and you want to get as many things done like as quickly as possible. But you have to take the time to stop and eat. And I know how silly it sounds, but too many times in the past, I would try to be as productive as possible in a day. And I would almost forget to eat, or I would not take the time to eat, but I would crash in the afternoon because my body would miss some nutrients and some energy. So I would just crash because my body could not keep up. So fuel your body, fuel your mind, because you're gonna need that energy to actually get things done. Number 9, I should have probably mentioned it earlier, but put your phone on do not disturb. It happens to me too frequently when I just get a notification and then I get distracted by something else, and next thing I know, I find myself scrolling on TikTok for 30 minutes. So do yourself a favor and put your cell phone on do not disturb. That way, you're not going to get distracted by your phone and distracted by whatever else pops up on your phone while you're at it and find yourself scrolling like me on TikTok for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. We're trying to be productive here. So stay off your phone, put it on do not disturb, and thank me later. And last but not least, on the hack list of how to break out of a rut is don't be so hard on yourself. Honestly, as I've mentioned, it's okay and it's normal to not be 100% productive all the time. But what matters is you actually got started and you got one thing done. If that's just one thing you've done it. Congratulations, you've broken out of a rut. But in all seriousness, don't be so hard on yourself. We're all human beings. We're not perfect. We cannot be perfect. So sometimes you're going to have a little bit more energy and motivation, and sometimes you're going to have a little less energy and motivation. Don't beat yourself up if you haven't accomplished everything on your to-do list. Focus on the things that you've actually been able to do. And this is where the success is. Just be happy and proud of the things that you actually were able to accomplish and get done, and not focus so much on the things that you were not able to accomplish. And having that mindset in general in life is just overall better because you're focusing on the positivity and on what's good rather than what's not good, you know? And that is all I had for the hacks, tips, and tricks on how to break out of a rut. And believe me, I've been there. And I've broken out of a rut before, so if I can do it, you can too. And I'd like to know actually, what are your tips and tricks on how to break out of a rut and become productive again? Those were mine, but what are yours? Because we might want to share some advice and some wisdom, because sharing is caring. And again, a special thank you to Magic Mind for partnering with me for today's video. They really do help me to be more productive. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I truly, truly, truly mean it. Hopefully, I have made a little difference in your day today. If you would like to make a difference in mine, you know what to do. And I'm going to wish you in Bonne journée.